Welcome to this live broadcast. Welcome to Sunday Live. This is your friendly neighborhood brother from another mother, bringing you insights today. We're going to get into some Q&A, addressing your questions, having a little bit of some laughs and some fun along the way, sharing some insights that will help encourage you. We want you to get rooted in the love of the Father. We want you to get rooted in the grace of Jesus Christ. We want to see you get some empowering insights to actually help you along the journey to gain victories in your life, step by step, as we are on a journey of learning to experience healing and freedom in our life. So do me a favor. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you in any way, shape, or form, click that like button, click subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot. And if you're like, I don't know, I got to check out this Mark D. Jesus guy. What's he all about? That's fine too. Sit back, relax, and take it all in. But you can also go to markdejesus.com to check out more about the ministry work that I've dedicated my life to, and topics and books and about us. And you can even support these videos by clicking on the donate button. It's appreciated greatly. We also have a healing and freedom community for those who are digging in and going, I've gotten some books. I want to go next level. I want to get into course material. I want to be able to ask some questions, have a little bit more interaction about the things I'm working through. Then this is a great opportunity. It gives you a little bit of structure in walking through course material one by one. I want to encourage teaching and insight that's going to walk with you as you're learning to heal and overcome. Today, we're going to be doing some question time, and you can do that. Is that even a phrase? We're going to do question time, and we're going to address as best we can. And if the best way to see a question get used in our broadcast is go to markdejesus.com/questions. In today's Bible study, I'm excited about the section we're getting into. I'm going to talk about receiving and giving God's love, and how important it is to actually learn to receive God's love. We're going to look at 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 through 16. Of course, take advantage of the books I've written. One of them, The OCD Healing Journey, which has been a popular book that many have sought out in this topic, this subject, and this battleground in their life. It's brought many of you to this broadcast, to this website, etc., etc. Be sure to take advantage of that and write a review. It helps out a whole lot. I also have that in course material. I spent about a year and a half teaching on it in sequence, expanding, expounding, whichever word fits in that equation. And that's in the Healing and Freedom community as well, too. Of course, the Myth of the Perfect One gets into relationship OCD specifically, a battle that I struggled with deeply, but my journey has been that of a lot of freedom and a lot of healing that I've experienced in my life. And I want to share with you what has been helpful and those that I've helped as well. Keep an eye on, for those of you that joined the Healing and Freedom community, I will be in the fall. I will be teaching on this and taking some time to field questions along the way. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Keep an eye on the fact, too, that our broadcasts, as we put them out, especially the ones during the week, this past week I did one on avoidance. And man, if you appreciate my materials, get into that broadcast on overcoming avoidance issues. And also I talk about some inner critic, our inner voice, our inner workings of thought patterns that work against us. You want to take advantage of that as well, too. But in those, we're also featuring blog posts that are in that as well. Sorry, the title of the broadcast slipped my mind. 10 types of disempowering self-talk. That's what it was. And but anyway, if you go to the website, you can be able to listen to it. You can watch it on YouTube. You can also watch it on Rumble. And there's also a blog post there as well. So we're offering these things now in audio, video, and in written format as well. Want to be a blessing to you all in that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with it, shall we? Because I want to bring in the sister from another mister who is the love of my life, all that I cling to. She has helped. This broadcast would not be what it is without her. And she means more to this world to me. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, that's not codependency talking, ladies and gentlemen. Melissa De Jesus is in the house. Welcome, my love. We've gone through a very difficult and challenging week of cloudy, rainy weather.
We've lost our tan a bit. Well, I haven't.
Actually,
I have a little, but you have, and we need to get it back this week. Okay.
It's a bit of kryptonite, isn't it?
It is. Even I just sitting outside today on the deck, I'm like, oh gosh, I felt like a dying plant. I needed my sun.
That's true.
Very
true. And another cool thing going on, tomorrow's the official day. We celebrate 19 years of marriage. And yeah, it's great. Isn't it?
I know. It's so exciting.
Next year's going to be 20.
Yes. We still have to figure out where we want to go and what we want to do.
Yeah, that's going to be
make it a fun trip or something.
So in the comments and in YouTube was where I put this. I did a quick poll. I know there's a lot of single folk that watch our broadcast. I know that for sure. But I wanted to break down the married folk and see what the breakdown is. So in the chat there, if you're here live, you can see it. There's which best describes you. Are you single or are married 0 to 15, married 16 to 30 years, married 31 years and up. And for a second there, married 31 years out. Yeah, it actually is.
Okay.
Married 31 years and up is in the lead.
Nice.
We got some folks that have been married.
I love it.
I like that. I like that a whole lot. And we got some 0 to 15 going on there. And but the singles are right now, as of right now, 56% of the viewing population. We got 75 votes in so far. We just put it up. So feel free throughout the broadcast to look at that. If you're just jumping in, you can check that out right there in the live chat. Mark, what are you talking about? It's in the live chat.
It is. Please like and subscribe.
And if you don't know where the live chat is, then I start feeling like I'm talking to my parents about technology, and I start to go, I don't know. I have these regular phone calls with my parents, and they're like, okay, so we're trying to watch it on the TV. How do we do the streaming? And I'm like, you gotta tell me what you're talking about here.
Yeah, and then with my dad, he just doesn't even know how to use his cell phone, and he's had one forever. Yep. Dad, go to the text. Where's the text? I'm like, okay, the same place it's been in, on the phone.
Then he figured out how to voice to text.
Yeah, that's fun because there's no punctuation. And so they're just run-on sentences of him talking.
Right. We need translators and interpreters
and he thinks he's funny, too, so he'll laugh at himself. It's good stuff. Oh, Max thinks we should go to France for our anniversary. He said, may I suggest France?
Or he's booking it.
He's in there.
Maximus is in the house.
Yes.
So he is.
Everyone be nice to Max.
He's in the. Oh, I see him. Might I suggest France?
He is so funny.
Son, I love having you in here. And,
he's so cute.
Maybe we'll ask you a question that you can.
He's being funny.
You can answer in the chat.
He's talking about either one of our parents saying, well, he was born in 1940. What do you expect? 1940. I think you're making him really old, Max.
Lynn says taking the train through France would be amazing.
Linny has traveled. Yeah. She's a traveled person. We need to do all the above.
I took French in high school. I don't remember much, so I'd have to really.
No, I would not. No, don't.
Don't even, right?
Don't. No, sir. No, we're not doing that. We're not trying to talk to them in French.
To who?
To people in France.
Oh, you mean me going there and trying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Give it a try. So 19 years. We're in the 19-year bracket.
And we got married later. Well, I did, technically. I was 33.
What do you mean, like you did, technically?
Well, because we have a 4-year difference.
There you go again.
You were 29.
Like you're so old.
It's not that I was so old, but I was 33. Then I had Max at 35 and Abby at 38. So I had our kids older.
Right.
So, but here's my point is I wish I was married to you longer already.
Oh.
Yes.
I felt that.
Boo.
I felt that. Okay, so let me ask you a question. In 19 years, looking back, and I'm usually the one, kind of talking and teaching, and it's not necessarily like me teaching time. It's just more like what bubbles up at the top of our heart. What do you feel like has been the most helpful aspects of our marriage growing over the last 19 years.
Okay.
What do you, I'll ask the second question later, but
Okay.
I'd like you to start and tell me what are your thoughts about working through marriage, having a growing marriage, and what specifically has been the most helpful?
Okay. Well, off the jump, I would say that from the beginning, you and I had to tackle a lot of pride, especially with our history of being single, too, things we went through.
Can I include stubbornness in that?
Stubbornness, pride,
Yeah.
shame led into pride too. I feel like
For sure.
shame in the maybe not knowing how to do certain things relationally too. Of like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to be the best wife. So I think there was a part of my history of.
By the way, I wasn't saying stubbornness like pointing at you. I meant
No,
both
of us for sure. There's a part of like really wanting, like just everyone does, right? You want amazing love, relationship, but you really don't have a good reference for it.
Right.
You think you're like, oh, we get along, we have the same interests, this is going to work out. You don't really know until you get into marriage and stuff hits you, right?
Yeah.
So there was a part when issues came up that I was very stubborn, prideful. I need to do it my way. I need to take over. I had kind of you used to say to me, put your dukes down, put your fists down. Because I had like, I want to fight. I'm going to stay tough. You're not going to hurt me kind of thing. That for me, I had to confront. What was your second part?
It's I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, you haven't gotten to it yet.
The survival mechanism.
Okay, well, well, let me just say this one other thing too. So I will say for me, going along with that, is that I wasn't not I'm a feminine girl, but there was a part of me connecting to the nurture of being a wife that was biblically submissive to you, that let you lead, that I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what it looked like to be your partner, for us to walk this journey together, but also submit to you and let you lead us and trust you. I didn't know how to trust a man. So that took time for us, for you to earn that trust and for you to display that for me, because you had to learn a lot of stuff too. I mean, you came in with a lot of great things, but there was still so much stuff that you had to grow in. But I think that was a big thing that you and I had to work through, that we've had, a lot of fighting, crying, praying through, healing each other in, that I think has been huge for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think me coming into marriage, I very quickly started to see we have a lot of learning to do. Like this is, you have theories of what you think you need going into marriage. But really, once it kicks in, now the learning is active. It's daily. It becomes personal. It becomes real. And so recognizing I thought I knew what love was.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, now I got to really learn. Love for me was something I could do in a performance setting, like be kind to people, be loving in that kind of way. But it was also chasing a feeling. It was chasing something that I felt, and I had to break the ties with that kind of that definition, that picture of it,
right?
To be able to go, okay, no. There's a much higher level of love. I'm actually in a very immature level of love, and so you talk about the pride and the stubbornness, which we were like two rams, that could have
the one. Never mind.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I won't say it.
Yeah.
We're going down that rabbit hole now. Anyway, go ahead.
You're gonna make a funny comment about a prophetic word that was given to us, right?
Yeah, one of the ones that was actually true. But anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, the one sentence of it that was true.
Yes.
But that you and I have a very strong sense of conviction, a strong sense of resolve, a strong sense of like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to take a step in it. We're willing to take the steps we need to. However, the stubbornness, the prideful aspects of it create a lot of resistance. So there's a redemption work that God does with that, though. Like people who have have prideful children or stubborn children, or you see that there's an amazing thing that God will do with humility. Amazing thing of just going, okay, God, I humble myself before you. I want to be teachable. So in that, I felt it very powerful to recognize, God, I don't know how to receive your love. I don't know how to love. I just kind of leveled the whole playing field. Like, let me just stop playing games with like, I know this, I know that. I don't know anything, but I'm willing to learn. It wasn't like I stopped there. Oh, I don't know anything. And I just sulked in that. I was like, okay, I got to active learn every day. Every day I need to actively learn what love looks like, how to love myself, how to love my wife. And a husband who loves his wife loves himself. What does that look like? What does it look like to walk in that journey? And I took that passage of Ephesians very personally in my life. Of seeing like, this is the value, this is the thing that's most important to me. Yeah. I want to learn that. And I feel that communication has been such a big part of our journey, because we talk a lot. We talk a lot about, we communicate a lot, we share a lot. It is something that people would say, if they were to observe, they would say we do it with ease. But it's actually come out of a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of practice,
intentional time.
Yeah. And that's something that I think has been very important, whether like before we had kids, when we had kids, when they were very young, to this day, of guarding time that you and I have, just the two of us, to just be able to talk and to share and to develop that muscle.
Yeah, I would say that is one thing that I'm very, that I had to learn actually to be submissive to and to let you lead in that area, because that's where my pride and stubbornness would kick in too. And shame of maybe not in the moment being emotionally intelligent enough when we were first married, of how am I going to deal with this? And you going, no, we're going to sit across from each other. We're going to look each other in the eye and we're going to talk this out. We're going to pray through this. And we both had our stubborn times, but growing in that. And I'm very grateful for that, because if you don't mind, if I can just share this too, from the beginning, you were very intentional on not just doing that, but setting aside time where you and I went on a date night, and you were intentional on even sometimes the agenda. Like, we're going to talk about what the year looks like. What are some things that we want to pray for our family? There was a part of that just, it benefited us so much, because even if we brought up one thing and then we would talk about that one thing, whatever it is, it did help. To this day, you do this now, and you're very, very creative with it. You just, last week when we took some time away with each other, the way that you do that stuff is very creative, and how you lead us and pull us into even deeper conversations. I don't know if you want to share and expound on that more, on where you come from in that, but I love it so much, and it's helped us to grow in our communication, our intimacy and communication, just so many things in how you lead us in that way. I am so appreciative of.
So I want to respond to a couple things, and of course, I appreciate your words very, very much. I appreciate the honor, and you always have a sense of respect for who I am. That has grown in so much in you. So it's I appreciate that so much. I'll take a step back a bit, because in recognizing the most important thing in life, in our walk with God, is how we relate to each other, and I realize that this is just my journey. For me, I realize I don't know that I see that modeled, that our spiritual life is grown and enhanced by how we do relationship with one another. So as I moved into adult years, I realized that I don't like, I'm socially awkward. I get nervous. I don't always know what to say. I can feel like I don't fit in a lot of situations. I feel like I'm just kind of an outsider.
I think if I could just interrupt you for a second too, there's a part of you, am I Pastor Mark here, or can I just be Mark?
Yeah.
And in a social situation.
And 99% of the time it's Pastor Mark. It's just how it's how it is. I had to accept that. This is how these people I'm around, that's how they see me, and it is what it is. I still want to learn to be myself in that, but there's a lot of challenges to it. But anyway, I realized that I struggled in this area, and rather than just shaming it, I looked for ways to work on it. And one of the things, it's a very simple thing that you can learn relationally, is people who have good relational interactions, ask great questions. And so that became something in my life. I've always been a very curious person. I could probably, and maybe someday I'll get more and more into it. I'd like to get more and more into interviewing people and having great conversations. And at some point, maybe that'll open up more. But I do a lot of that in real life. I like to, when I meet somebody, and even our daughter, Abby, will kind of go, okay, here we go, mom and dad. And she thinks like we're just naturally very social people. And I've had to tell her, like, I've had to work at this. This is something that did not arrive easy for me. I can tend to be more to myself, by myself, be fine. But I do thrive off of good social interaction. And it's very important for mental, emotional health. And so anyways, I give the backdrop to that I brought that into our marriage, where I would think of good questions that we could ask each other to get to know each other in a deeper way.
Right.
And so even in recent years, I have a list of questions that I put. So if anyone was to socialize with us or come to a picnic of ours or something like that, there will probably be a point in time where we're going to do, Mark's going to ask some questions. And some of it's just fun.
It is.
Some of it is just getting to know you. But I think that intentionality, you talked about the intentionality, but that became a way, and it actually opened up a very strong aspect of counsel that I bring, or coaching, because I love to ask questions and pay attention to what's being said. And because it gets my eyes off of myself. It gets my eyes off of like how I'm feeling or what I'm going through. So anyways, I give that backdrop to that. Then it's been a fun journey of like, let's go out and let's talk about this subject. And there's usually one or two things that I try to allow us to do. One is to just share how we're doing without judgment. We do a lot of like, here's what I'm going through, and it's tough, or this is challenging, or this thing's an ache, or this, I don't even know what to do about it. I'm struggling with this emotion. I'm struggling with this pain or this area that's challenging. And it's not a fix-it time. It's just a sharing to understand, to meet, to be heard. Because I think that's the number one thing that we all need, is just to be validated in what we're going through. But you're right. It's a scary threshold for a lot of people because they don't have a model for it. So it's like, if I go into this, we've been, I don't want to say this in a harsh way, but it is what it is. We've been very shocked at how much couples don't talk to each other over the decades.
Yes. Like like we leave sometimes grieved.
Yes.
Like epic level grieved.
Yeah.
Which to me, going into marriage was my worst nightmare, which is why I didn't want to get married.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. Mark and I can freely talk about people we've dated. Like we don't,
Yeah.
We have security and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, of like, no, I knew if I was going to marry that person, oh no, they couldn't talk. It was not going to be good. No.
Yeah.
That was my worst fear nightmare, of not being able to just be honest and talk to my spouse. Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So the second part is, so either just sharing what's going on, or B, just having something that's intentional. Like you said, sometimes I'll go, okay, hey, it's the end of the year. Let's sit down, and I like to do this with you. Let's sit down and do a year in review. Like, what did we notice happen this year? What are we grateful for? What are some things we want to be aware of moving into the next year? I'm not a 5-year plan kind of guy. I am a very much take it one day at a time. But there is a sense like, what are some things we want to be prayerful for or be mindful of? Because I believe in being awake and sober. And that's what I try to cultivate. So in that, we've had very refreshing times where we felt heard, we felt seen. And I brought this up recently because in one of my classes that I was taking, college course I was taking, I think it was a cognitive psychology, or maybe it was the one before. Yeah, it was cognitive psychology. And they were talking about asking good questions. And there was a great... it was a 36 questions for increasing closeness is what it's called. So I went in and I said, oh, this will be fun. I always love these kind of things. So I took it, and it's broken up into 3 sections, and we've been going through it in sections. You and I together. And some of it is stuff we've already talked about, but who cares? Let's do it again.
It's so fun.
if you want to look it up, those of you that are married, whether you're 0 to 15, 16 to 30, or 31 years and up,
you're always learning something.
Yeah, you can look it up. One link I found. I don't know anything about who runs it or who does it, so don't write me if they're like this association.
Right.
It's just okay. I'm just taking it for the questions. 36questionsinlove.com. 36questionsinlove.com, and I found that neat. I copied them down. You can find it in other places too. But there was a psychologist named Arthur Aron who back in the 90s created this questionnaire. And it was designed to take people into closer intimacy, because going back to the conversation and asking questions and couples connecting and not talking, a lot of it has to do with not being equipped, and it's terrifying,
right?
Especially for the men. It's terrifying because they feel like going there, it taps into their shame nerve, which goes all the way down to our abandonment issues, right, and of just being uncomfortable with it. And so, but this is something I want to encourage the men: find a way to make it fun at first, make it light, and then go deeper gradually. But find ways where you can sit and talk together. And I was just willing to give it a try. Hey, you want to ask some questions? And you've always been willing to try.
Yeah,
I go, hey,
don't husband and wives want to know you're interested in each other?
Yeah.
Not, hey, how you doing today?
Right.
You feeling good?
Right.
Like that you're truly interested in each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And this
it's very meaningful.
There's some good things in it too. I forget where it is, but like even just taking a few moments and just looking at each other in the silence. You talk about in the early years, especially when we would do some prayer, we would pray with eyes open, looking at each other as a way of like connecting to what we said.
You want to grow in marriage, do that. It's going to challenge you, but it is awesome.
Yeah, because it can feel very awkward at first.
It can. Well, people are awkward in prayer anyway. I mean, I've told that story 100 times on the podcast of like so intimidated to pray in front of you. Goodness gracious. But we had to work through all that.
Yeah. And I think many couples when they first get married, I know I did this. We can be very catastrophic in the battles that you're facing. And I think so much grace is needed because it takes years of adjustment just getting into the lane. And I don't think we give ourselves, especially those that have perfectionist or obsessive or anxious tendencies, that they don't give themselves enough room to go, hey, we're not crazy. This is a new season. We need to learn to get to know each other and buckle up for the journey. That takes time to adjust to.
It does.
And I don't think I gave myself in the early stages, I had to learn to give that, and it would help me out a lot. But yeah, it's great.
But I'm glad I'm doing it with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, babe.
For sure. Anything else before we move on?
No, Max is in the chat and he's, he's a chatty Cathy. He says he has great parents, I saw.
Well, that's nice.
What's some other things in here? He's so cute. He dips in and out. I don't know what he's doing.
Max,
he gets back to drawing.
Max, you and I had a nice talk today.
Oh, you're
appreciate
such a good
that.
dad. Oh, with him.
Appreciate the talk we had today, buddy. I can't find him.
I think Miguel told him to start. When's he starting his YouTube channel? You know what, Miguel? Max actually asked me this morning.
Yep.
Mom, when can I start my YouTube channel?
Yeah, he wants to get that going.
Buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a poll we'll put on next week.
Yeah. You know what? Just Lynn actually brought this out, and I think it's great to add to our conversation about marriage from Brooke. What do you do when talking to someone who is only listening to respond but not listening to understand? Because men can do that. Sometimes we just need you to. Yeah.
Well, men, the default setting of men is to fix. It's not a bad thing. It just needs to be recalibrated. Because that doesn't work in marriage if your default setting is to fix. But for men, that's where our minds naturally go. There's a leak in the sink. How do I fix it? Right. There's something in the car. I got to fix it. I got an issue with weeds growing in my grass. How do I fix it? All that kind of stuff. So there's an adjustment in coming into marriage that we have to we have to land into it, that it's about first learning how to love. So the question, how would a wife communicate that to her husband? Is that what it would be, or just a friend, or just somebody?
Husband.
So she wants to know, how do I communicate that to him?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
It takes a few rounds of realizing, and sometimes you can, when you share, go, I'm just sharing this. I'm just letting it out. Christians struggle with what to do with somebody who's just saying.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. I'm just because
that's my just saying.
Right, because we're there are people who process internally in their head, but there's a lot of processing that happens verbally.
Yeah.
And so somebody's saying, I don't know, I just feel so discouraged. I feel like I just want to quit, or I just and many of us, we get afraid of very honest statements. Oh, was this mean? Was this mean? Right? And B, we don't know what to do with like negative emotions being expressed. We're afraid of them. And so just saying and communicating, hey, I'm just sharing this. I don't need a fix. I just want to share.
Which I have told you before.
Yes.
I don't need you to say anything. I just wanted to say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had to learn, like, that's not what it's about. That's not, which actually helped me in my own healing, because I was looking at myself too much in a fix it way, too much of myself of like, I got to fix this, I got to do this,
True.
and I'm skipping past being loved, and having a loving connection is first embracing, and patience and kindness, not the fixing mindset, and so we have to detox ourselves from the fix it. And
I think on the side for women, when men need to share and get vulnerable and they don't have the language and they're just trying, we really need to soften and really encourage them that it's great and you want more of that.
That's right.
And be loving and kind, because they need a soft place to land too.
Yeah, if a man can feel at all encouraged,
yes.
and what you feed with encouragement will grow.
They want to feel like the man, but they also want and need to share.
Yeah. Yep. And there is an uphill battle that they bump against because they haven't been given a model of that, haven't
Correct.
given understanding of that. And so I know I walked in going, I have no idea how to do this. Well, all right, well, let's try. And celebrating the effort,
right?
Versus whether you did it right or did it perfectly or not. So I think that's a big part of it.
It's good, boo.
Do you want to say hello to everyone in the chat?
Of course I do.
And then I'll get to the Bible study.
Okay.
All right. Shoulder shake.
Okay. What's going on Facebook? Hi, Cindy. Okay, let's go to Rumble. Ooh, the chat is wild in Rumble. Hello, Courtney Laws. Katie had floods. No. Let me go down. Janata, what's going on? RRB. And what's that one? Y Golo. Honey, that's a long one. Okay, I'm not going to say all those initials. All right, let's go to YouTube. Narnian78, what's going on? Luke Braganza. Hello, sir. Emma P. EC, hello from the Caribbean. And yes, we need to go to the Caribbean again as well. Linny helping us out in the mod section. Thank you, Lynn. Solve, Annie, Heather Van Allen, Chibithi, Darla, Michelle, Augustin, Marty, beloved child Mary from Franklin, North Carolina. Hello. Joshua Miller. Susie, hello. Jan Sparks, hello. And your puppy, Lily. Oh, how cute. Let's see. Smiling Heidi, hello. Nova Storm. Mimi, hi, little Mimi. I love you, my dear. Murda. Marisol, hello. T-O, is that T-O or T-0? Yeah, T-O for JC. Katie Parker, hello. Moses, hello. Abe. Libby, hi, Libby. Go down here. Maximus, hello, my love. Craig, hello, Mr. Time Walker, hello. The Janelle Live, hello. Darla, Miss Hibiscus, Hydronex. All right, I'm going to the bottom. Josiah, hello. All right, I'm going to zoom to the bottom, everybody. Okay. Sarah, Lusanda, Jacob, Diane, Ren. I said Marisol already. But did I say hi to Miguel? Miguel likes the shoulder shake. Andres, Lori Sullivan. Hey, girl, how you doing? Kevin, Rachel, Marissa, Brooke. I think I got everybody. Sabrina, Jan, Jane. I don't know. Listen, if I missed you, I'm sorry I missed you. We're so glad to have you with us. Welcome and enjoy.
Very, very
Maybe
nice.
the church lady will show up. You never know.
Well, you know what's interesting is that when I was talking to her one day, she was doing some judgy stuff over
Shocker.
over people's marriages, right? Because
Yeah, I'm just sick and tired. First of all, I don't want to be told what to do, but these men who fallen asleep on the couch, I had to do some chancleta throwing across the room and hit some head with some sandals to get this brother from another mother to wake up. I don't know who his mother is, but she probably needs to be slapped too for raising this.
so. Anyway, I was telling her that she's definitely way too judgy. And here's the thing, though.
Wait, have we discussed, is the church lady married?
Okay, this is the funny thing.
No, I am not wed to anyone right now.
But what she isn't revealing is she was previously married, and she's trying to keep it under wraps. She doesn't want anyone to know.
You know what?
Yep.
Very fitting.
Yes.
Right.
Very, very fitting.
Yes, it is very fitting
very
that the
fitting.
church lady would be judging everyone and have her own.
Yes. And so I had to talk to her and confront her about that because then she started to get a bit uncomfortable. And
Then, I don't. Brother Mark, I just couldn't take it anymore. And so there was a arrest and a restraining order that was given because apparently the iron pan that I was using to cook some eggs slipped out of my hand and went across the room, and apparently there was a bruising and some broken bones, and let's say there were some words of how you say I can't take it anymore. And he was talking about how I'm so violent and that I was cussing apparently too much or whatever that was, or I was violent and all those things. So but I went and I had it annulled, so technically.
Of course. Of course.
So technically, it doesn't count. So I'm still holy. Yeah. So
That's good.
So it doesn't exist. So we just
Okay.
we just put that under the carpet, and we're going on, and that's all I'll be saying about that. And I will continue on my ministry of fixing other people's marriages because
Right.
That's what I'm
how it
called to.
goes. Yep.
yes.
That is so good.
Yes. So-
very fitting
so
that would be the church lady's history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a restraining order and some other things going on, but he who is not sober is very judgy. That's for sure.
Correct.
All right. Let me get to this. We spent a good amount of time talking about marriage, and it was great.
It was
babe.
awesome. Yes. Love you.
Love you too.
Okay.
Let me get into today's Bible study. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this and sharing and talking about it. I pray to bless your life and your journey. And I'm titling it Receiving and Giving God's Love. And I have the word receiving there first because I want to kind of help you to understand how we can grow and what I'm going to call the flow of God's love. And I pray this will be encouraging to you. But let me read the passage here, 1 John 4, 7 through 16. Then we'll go back through it line by line, give you some things that you can think about, put into practice. And most of all, I pray that you'll be able to grow in the love that God has for you. So verse 7 and 8, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. In this, the love of God was manifested towards us, that God has sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. In this is love, Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love has been perfected in us. By this we know that we abide in him and he in us, because he has given us of his Spirit. And we have seen and testify that the Father has sent the Son as Savior of the world. Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him and he in God. And we have known and believed the love that God has for us. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. Okay, so let's walk through this. Let's start with the beloved. And I always want to pause there as much as possible to take that in. Stop, pause, pay attention. What he calls you, beloved. And to put it in modern context, because we don't use that word anymore, it's very rare to put in there dearly loved. Dearly loved. Dearly loved, because so many of you read these passages, you skip over that. Yeah, beloved, blah, 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 whatever. Get to the point, and you skip past the word he keeps using over and over and over again. So, the constant overarching command of the New Testament, and I hope you see this throughout this Bible study, but I hope you notice it in the Gospels and the epistles. We see it here. The overarching command, it's a thread. This is not exclusive to just John, to just Peter, to just Paul, to just Jesus. They're all sharing this narrative, is that you and I grow in what it means to love our brothers and sisters. So I want to encourage you to ask yourself a question, an empowering question, not a disqualifying way, but to ask yourself, am I valuing love and directing my focus in growing what it means to grow in love, to grow in how I learn to be loved by God, to love God, to see myself through that love, to love others, and to also be willing to acknowledge when love is shown to me and receive it and steward it, treasure it, and allow it to grow you in every area of your life. When I look at modern Christianity, there are a lot of topics and subjects that are emphasized as important things. These are the things that are super important. But have we really looked at the scriptures, especially the New Testament, and recognized this is really the biblical priority over and over again, is the priority of love? John says, if you keep loving and growing in love, that is of God. He says, beloved, let us love one another. And as if this is not a new statement. He says it over and over and over. So repetitious. For love is of God. So continue to love your brothers and sisters, because in that, what you're going to do is you're going to connect to God and who he is in a better way. And everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. That's quite a big statement there. But like the mark of a believer, more than anything else, seems to be the love that is taking place. I would also put into that where Paul talks about you want to see where the Holy Spirit is working. He called out the fruit of the Spirit, which love is the first in that list. And then it expands into love, joy, peace, and continues on in that fruitfulness. Do we really value that? Because he says, he does not love, does not know God, for God is love. Unfortunately, when I take a look at Christianity, and I think we need a sober looking at ourselves, because when you look around, there's such a lack of love in how people are dealing with one another, especially brothers and sisters with one another. And John is saying here, someone who lives in love, they know God. Wow, I'm just going to let that sit without like adding a bunch of things to it or trying to hyper explain. But let me ask you a question. Those of you who grew up in the church, you grew up in Christianity, was this the biggest emphasis that you were taught? This is how we show that we are rooted in God. This is how we actually gain assurance. You know, there's a lot of reassurance seekers out there that tune into my materials. How much of our journey was, man, keep growing in what it means to love people? And then he makes that big statement that everyone who loves is born of God, and everyone who does not love does not know God. Now, before those of you who panic about your salvation, because many of you have religious OCD, scrupulosity, you panic over this because you recognize, I haven't been loving. So you immediately disqualify yourself, say, I'm out. This is not a call to nitpick your performance, but it's pointing to what we should value as a mark of maturity. Because what we often call Christian maturity is not what the Bible calls Christian maturity. We look at positions, or how many years you've said you've walked with God, or how good your doctrine is, or how good you can win an argument, or whatever, or how good you can speak from a pulpit. But the marks of value here that John is recalibrating is growing in love. And it's pointing to people that do not value love. How many of you know people who say, I'm a Christian, but they do not value love in their life? In fact, it almost seems they could care less. And they show no fruit of love in how they deal with people at all. We see way too much of that. And John's bringing back the priority again. So I'm going to share with you my experience, and this is just my experience. But for me, growing up in the church, I saw the value of loving lost people, the unsaved. We're going to love them. We're going to be loving to non-Christians. We got to be loving to the world. Meanwhile, the command, the direction, not that we're to not love lost people, but the command of love throughout the New Testament is actually brothers and sisters in Christ. That we need to learn how to love one another, and that has an evangelistic power. You see, but we were taught so much, love people, love people, love people, win them to Jesus. But have we been actually valuing loving our brothers and sisters? Because when people come into the kingdom, then we're all so goofy because we don't know how to love. We didn't grow up knowing how to have a loving brother or loving sister. We don't know how to do this. And so I found myself, I've had a number of recalibrations in my life when it came to love. I'll share with you a few of them. And I pray this is encouragement with you. Later on in this passage, there's a statement where it says, God is love. And this is super, super important for me. In verse 8 there, it says, God is love. I said later on, but no, in what I just held up on the screen. I had a realization in that verse that God doesn't just have love, he is love. If I want to get to know God in a deeper way, I need to grow in what his love looks like. That was a very big awakening for me, because then it began a journey on just me learning. Number 2 is I had to open up my heart to my brothers and sisters in Christ that I'm rubbing shoulders with. And at the time of this personal awakening, I was running our worship ministry, production ministry in our church, all these people that I was interacting with. And I just started to slow down because my pace was so fast, because that was the pace of the church. Go, 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 go. Next thing. I had to learn to slow down and see the value in each person I was interacting with, and to have an appreciation for interaction with them, and asking myself, what's a way that I can show love and care to that person? And what it did was it got me out of the big picture of the crowds and got me down to the small. And to this day, I have a value for the small in everything. And many people get lost in the value of the big. We like big numbers, big things, big crowds. And that's great. I don't want to demonize it, but we really have fallen in love with the shallow system that brings about. And we don't have time for people. And I said, you know what? No, I want to change this. I want to value the one-on-ones, the slow, the small interactions. A third one was in my marriage, where I even remember sitting down. We were sitting down with another couple that was in pastoral ministry themselves, and we were just sharing heart to heart, sharing struggles and things like that. And the pastor's wife, in the dialogue, she said to me, wasn't condemning. It was a great picture of grace. And she really affirmed, Mark, just keep growing in how to love your wife. And I remember that it was an exhortation to me, and it lifted me up to a deeper level of, yeah, that's what the call is here. Who cares about all the ministry stuff and all this and that if loving my wife is not my top priority? And so learning in that became center stage. It became a value to me. So see, what I'm trying to bring out here in this study is let's value love. This isn't about you spinning out, I don't know how to love, or I didn't love, or I'm struggling with love. That means I'm not a Christian. That means I'm not. Beware of that instant disqualification that you spin out into. This is an invitation to go, I want to value love, and I need to learn how to see that in my arena around me. Another one, a fourth one that I'll bring up, is one that my wife has brought to my attention, because I remember during seasons where I was doing a lot of church consulting, it was the messiest time of my life. I saw some of the darkest stuff I've ever seen in my life. I saw stuff that made my head spin, and it was gut-wrenching. It was challenging. It was emotionally shredding for me at times. I'm still in these years now, still recovering from things I experienced during that time. And I remember during one time where I was fussing over a certain situation. I was actually fussing over a particular pastor who was just irritating me. And who it is doesn't matter. But I remember just a day of venting that and just trying to find my lane. And my wife saying to me, and it wasn't a fix it. She wasn't trying to fix me. She was listening, but I was on repeat. You know when the track gets on repeat, and sometimes you need to catch yourself on repeat and going, okay, I need to invite and welcome a new mindset. And she said, Mark, everything you're sharing is legit. It's true. It's right. But you just need to root yourself in compassion over this person. It's not saying that you need to tolerate this or anything like that, but just especially for your own sake, get yourself back into a compassionate lens. And she was right. And it's something that I apply to this day of continue recalibrating myself. Am I seeing this person compassionately? It doesn't mean sin is okay. It doesn't mean I'm going to take abuse. It doesn't mean boundaries don't need to happen. But my view of this person, I need to root myself back into love. Those are just 4 examples. I can give you many, many others. Because John here in his exhortation is saying, God is love. That's who he is. He doesn't just have it. So if you want to get to know God, start learning of what true love looks like. Get into 1 Corinthians 13 and see the picture of love. Get into descriptors in the scripture that describe what love looks like. Then John says to us, if you want to know what love looks like, I'm going to tell you, because he gives many layers of what love looks like, is he says, in this, the love of God was manifested towards us, that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. So he's saying love needs to be manifested. It needs to be shown. And the proof of God's love being manifested was in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. This was planned from the foundations of the earth, as it's spoken of in the book of Ephesians. The Godhead chose to set into motion an eternal message of love to the world, a message of redemption, and that redemption is rooted in the love of the Father and shown and demonstrated in Jesus's life, death, and resurrection. Jesus willingly laid down his life. The Bible says it was an act of joy, for the joy set before him. It is the highest level and demonstration of love that could ever be seen. Jesus was not manipulated into this. It was the Godhead agreed on it, and he willingly gave of himself so that you and I could participate in that love. And not only participate in that love, but let that love work through us. Look at what this verse says, that God sent his only begotten Son into the world that we, this is you and I now, might live through him. Love made it possible. So in this picture, you actually see, I talk about love and grace so much. In this picture, you see love and grace both happening, because grace is how love is delivered. It's the empowerment of God at work. It's divine empowerment working through. And love is now working from the Father through Christ Jesus and now through us because we are in Christ. Many of the things that we see online in Christianity, what's emphasized, it doesn't show and demonstrate. I want to make a call to more leaders, more believers. You can have YouTube channels. You can have social media. You can write books. You can do all those things. It's great. It's wonderful. But in everything, can we keep ourselves rooted in what love looks like? In receiving that love, you and I get the opportunity to let that love work through us. That's the picture of grace happening. And so John says that he wants to get to your performance tendency, because we all have that performance tendency, don't we? And he goes, in this is love. Not that we loved him. He's already, before you get in this performance thing, it's not what it is. It's not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his son to be the propitiation for our sins. John defines love by saying love didn't start with you. It doesn't start with us. For most Christians, they think of love as, I love God. That's where it starts. John wants to bring a correction. It didn't start with you. It started with him loving you. He'll say this later in chapter 4, where he says we love him because he first loved us. So this is a repeated concept. So love starts with receiving love from God. Love, because he is love. Before the foundations of the earth, before I ever existed, he existed, and he is love. And it starts with receiving that love. Churches today, we often promote the phrase, I get it. Love God, love people. You'll see it on banners in churches, right? Love God, love people. It's well-intentioned, but it skips over receiving love from God. And John here says the importance of this. Love is not because we did something. It's because he loved us. And so I wonder if maybe it would help if we instead say this saying, instead of just love God, love people, because it feeds a performance-driven mindset, by the way. We're just always giving out. And we're just all exhausted and overwhelmed. And then we don't know how to receive and rest. We don't know how to recalibrate. I wonder if we modified it to a saying that says, be loved and love others. Be loved and love others. Because what it also teaches too is to give out of the love that you have received. Because I know that when we struggle to love others, what it often reveals is we need to get back to the filling tank and fill our hearts. I know for me, if I get burnt out, agitated, irritable with people, or just get a little bit jaded about areas of my life, or too cynical, it's a signal. Mark, you just need to get back into reminding yourself that you're loved by your Father in heaven. And that taught me to learn how to go fill that tank. And so John says here, this love from God brought the solution and redemption to the problem of sin. And he uses this technical term, this theological term, propitiation. I mentioned it before in our Bible study. It speaks of atonement, being provided, appeasing the wrath that sin brings about. And it brings a reconciling of relationship, a covering. It's a beautiful picture. Propitiation, it can be interpreted as, or translated as a word, covering. It brings a covering by which we live in, that we are able to be in right standing with God, be loved by him, and to love others. God is bringing us to reconciliation, to bring connection to us, and then we are connected one to another. God is all about the restoring of relationships, because that's what sin has brought about, is disconnect. And so he brings about that covering that we get to live in, and it's best shown in how we love each other. So he says in verse 11, beloved, if God so loved us, again, beloved, dearly loved, don't skip over that. He's saying the natural response to receiving God's love is to give it out, to see others through that love and share that love. The flow that is taught here is that we receive the love of God and love others from the same love that we have received. And this brings about now authentic ministry, because authentic ministry is truly just giving out of what you've received. Even Peter himself said, silver and gold I don't have, but what I have, I give to you, which in that moment was a ministry of healing to the man he was interacting with. So before I move forward, though, let me share this with you, because I talk about this in some of my materials about the flow of God's love. And when I explain God, you, and others, I like to talk about the flow of God's love. And so this graphic shows it a little bit. Just some arrows pointing here. And what I want to direct your attention to is the red arrow, because what John is teaching us here is basically we love him because he first loved us. So loving God is a response to receiving his love. So that red arrow is actually the beginning of it. is learning to receive this great love, to learn about this love, to take it in, to say to yourself, what does this mean that he loves me this much? What does that look like in my life? What does that look like in my journey? To grow in the facets of what love is, right? So my response of loving God is that. It's a response. So many of you are trying, I gotta love God, I gotta love God, I gotta love God. And you're exhausted because you see love as something you have to perform and earn. And I want to point you back to the beginning. It's learning to receive, and loving God is a response to that. Remember in Paul's writing to Romans where he talks about giving our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. And this is your spiritual act of worship. It's a response. He says in response to God's mercy, which is mercy as a facet of his love. It's his compassion over us in our sin and suffering and struggle and our battles, that he's merciful to us in it. Mercy is a big picture of God's love towards us. So I receive God's love. Now I'm seeing myself through that love. I'm looking at myself. I'm relating to myself in that love, which birthed the material I wrote called God Loves Me and I Love Myself. So then out of that receiving, I love him back, and out of that, I'm loving others. And this now sets a more refreshing lifestyle because you're giving out of what you're cultivating in your life. And if you value love, then you're seeking to receive it on a daily basis. You're seeking to grow in it on a daily basis, and you give out of it. And there are times, too, where you can feel stuck. And sometimes we can get stuck because we get too focused on ourselves. And what we need to do is actually give out of love. And I find more flows from God because there's a flow of this. And I talk about this more in some of my other videos. And then as others love us, we pay attention to that. We appreciate it. We welcome it. Now, many of you people love on you and it hits a plexiglass wall, right? Or it just bounces right off, right? Because there's an unworthiness, there's self-hatred that meets whatever love shows your way and bounces back. I want to encourage you to start redirecting your attention to welcoming love when it shows up. Because many times you ask God, I need your love. And you're looking for a mystical, supernatural, some kind of heavenly encounter to take place. But many times a person crosses your path who shows love. Or maybe a video you watch or something crosses your path, or a book, and there's a resource or something. But a lot of times in response to our prayer, God will often send a person our way to show us an aspect of love. But I've realized I have to be willing to say yes to that love. I have to be willing to make a decision to say yes, because God will not interfere with your ability to say yes or no. It's very interesting, right? It's a mystery. In that same light, you have a yes or no in your relationships. You can say no to other people. You have the ability to say no and put a boundary up to toxic people. Yeah, you can do that. You can also put a boundary and say no to people who genuinely love you. And so what I decided in my life, God, I want to open up the flow because I had a clog in the flow of love. One of them was I had a very deep sense of self-hatred, so I couldn't connect to God's love and receive it. I was a performer, and I was uncomfortable when other people loved us. And so working on that opened up my heart more to the loving compassion that people showed me, as well as the love of God that is here. It's here, but I need to say yes to it and treat myself according to that compassionate love. And so in that, we're trying to grow with God. But in that, we actually learn it in how we relate to ourselves and the people around us. Look at this next verse that John brings out here. He says, no one's seen God at any time. Wow, that's interesting. If we love one another, God abides in us and his love has been perfected in us. So the invisible God reveals himself through visible relationships. Let me say this again. The invisible God, who we have not seen, reveals himself through visible relationships. That's why if you want to grow in Christ, you got to learn how to grow in love with your brothers and sisters, right? But that's where our battleground is. That's so because we've had such unlovable experiences in our life, or we're just so ill-equipped. But if you want to see God show up, learn to love people, practice that love, learn to receive it. Learn to get in the lane of reciprocal love, where it's given out and it's appreciated when it shows up. And so John says God abides in us and his love has been perfected in us. That's a very strong word, right? And that perfection is not about perfectionism, perfected. It's more, it speaks of a maturity, coming into a fuller stature of who we are. I'll get more into that when I get into perfect love casts out fear later on. But in verse 13, he says, by this, we know that we abide in him. So if you want assurance in your journey, grow in love. No, Mark, I got to say the prayer right. No, I get this thing right. Grow in love. Keep growing. Yeah. Grow in love. Okay, got it. Now what do I do? No. There is no yeah, because no one's mastered it. The highest theological doctorate, fancy theologian is never arriving in love. In fact, don't mistake smart headiness for growing in love. The assurance here that we're growing in, if you lack assurance in your life, direct your attention. I need to grow in what love is, because that's where I will find God's nature and I will find his ways more than all my spinning out. Now, let me ask you all an honest question, because I have a high percentage of people that struggle with their salvation and feeling connected and close, justified, saved, all of that. When was the last time, when talking about being saved and being reassured or assured that you are of God, that the question was brought up, are you growing in love and walking in love to your brothers and sisters? I never heard it. I usually hear like a list of things. Are you doing this, this, and this, and this, and this? Are you not doing this, this, and this, and this, and this? Because when you direct it to love, you discover God. And when you discover God in a deeper way, it opens up transformation like never before. I'm just sharing from my own experience. I'm not trying to take my experience and plaster it on everyone else's, but I feel a lot of my brothers and sisters have a very similar history in their own life. Because he says, this is how we know we abide in him and he in us, because he has given us his Spirit. And the Holy Spirit's going to bear witness to this. I'm going to bear witness to you and I growing in love. And so he says in verse 14, and we have seen and testify the Father has sent the Son as Savior of the world. Again, this is the demonstration of an act of love. Okay? Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him and he in God. So the two things that are the two things that are brought up over and over and over again. Believe, confess Jesus is who he says he is. Love each other. Believe and confess that this is who he is. Yes, you are Jesus. Even if you struggle with your doubts, do I really believe? Do I struggle? Yes. Yeah. Okay. But there's something at work that says, yes, I believe this, and love one another. Both of them are brought out and emphasized. And so John says, and we have known and believed the love God has for us. It's interesting. He uses this in past tense as he's talking to his brothers and sisters. We've known it. We've relied on this. We believe it. The NIV brings out an interesting aspect of this. The NIV says, so we know and we rely on the love God has for us. It's translated believe, but the NIV brings out an interesting facet that's worth considering. Because belief is a reliance, isn't it? Right? When I got to the point in my life where I go, God, I rely on your love. I lean on this. This is not like a little theory. Jesus loves me, this I know. No. It's like, I rely on your love today. I'm relying on the fact that I'm in your love. You are in me and I in you. I'm relying on that love today. I've known it, but I'm growing in knowing it, right? It's not just an arrival thing. And so, again, he's bringing out the facet of who God is in his love, that he is love. So if you want to remain and abide in God, keep connecting, keep growing to what love looks like and living in that. But I will tell you ahead of time, it's going to cause you to bump up against some of your broken-hearted areas in your life. You're going to bump up against some uncomfortable areas that are going to need some grieving. It's going to bump into areas of bad references, poor references, neglect, trauma, all kinds of other things that are going to come to the surface. It's okay. It's okay. This is part of the journey. But this is why generations past didn't go here. And they might have just performed in love, but went home and their marriages were not loving, and their parenting wasn't loving, and their personal relationships weren't loving. But hey, as long as we show up for the show and show. But I believe there's a newness taking place where people, believers, are valuing love and they're relying on it and they want to grow in it more. I want to learn more about this love that you have for me, God, and I want to see it in my life, and I want to treat those around me with that love that I'm learning about and growing in. So, Father, I pray that you'll help us to value this personally, deeply, that we would, on a daily basis, ask ourselves, what does love look like? What does it look like to grow in love, to walk in love, to carry this in my journey? May we treasure it. May we practice it. And I pray that it would bring great fruit in our lives, because I know it has for me. And I'm continually growing and being challenged and letting love have just a deeper, deeper, deeper work. I thank you for this, and I bless everyone with it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, I'm going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment to address your questions. Well, my love.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. That was good. And if I was not saved, I'd be running to the altar right now to get saved.
Okay. I appreciate that.
You lay it out so beautifully. I want to just say this because I think that this is true. Courtney Laws wrote this. But when I think of receiving God's love, it makes me feel like I'm supposed to just hold my hands up and wait for it to come on me and strike me like lightning. So true.
Me too. I've had that same mindset. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've had to modify that. I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think it's. I think it can get it can get misleading because then that becomes the focus. Like I need, our modern culture does a lot of what we call worship gatherings, hands up, and people are like trying to get something. I'm not saying that that's bad or wrong. I'm just saying it doesn't hit home to the practicality of it in the sense of what does love look like? So love is patient. So what does it look like if I'm just continually reminding myself of being patient with you? Or here, it's a prime time example. We've had so much rain. Our yard just gotten muddy, whatever. And yesterday we had some sun come out. It was still a bit muddy, and I was out there in the yard, and Max was helping me. And he has trouble with directions, and he's got the push mower. I'm on another mower, and I'm yelling. He's not hearing me. Max,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's it's an area of discipleship for me. But anyway, I asked myself the question, what does patience look like? I said, God, give me patience as I right? Versus just like getting stressed.
Yeah.
Right? So what does it look like in being patient with my wife? Right? That's very, very practical.
What? You don't have to have patience with me. I'm perfect all the time. I'm kidding.
I'm
kidding.
I didn't mean that in like
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I got to be patient with you. Like I kind of.
Sometimes it wasn't I'm a little tough. It wasn't. Okay?
It wasn't like I gotta be patient with her. You know?
Let's use as an example, kindness. We even in our household, we're like we'll be in the middle of something and we can start a conversation a little edgy, and we'll say to each other, "Start over."
Right.
Right. Recalibrate with kindness.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so it's a very practical thing of like learning what love looks like, and then during that time where you're praying or thinking or being still, okay, God, this is how you see me. Like, you really see me like this?
Right.
So that's...
I think, too, a big thing, worship is amazing, and it's a wonderful thing to do, and even standing there with your,
Yep.
we're worshiping him, and it's awesome. But I think, too, there's been an exchange that I've had to learn in receiving his love is like, he's already here with me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because I do feel like within that posture, sometimes it's like a begging, like, God, love me, give me something right now. And it's like, no, he's here. He's with me.
Yeah.
And bring it down to a simple, I don't mean to say simple, but like it is, because he's here.
Not to get into too much of a tangent, but
okay, go ahead.
The majority of what we call modern worship is actually Old Testament based worship. There's a presence that comes in, and we bow before it. And New Testament is I'm the temple; he's actually in me.
Right.
The glory, the work of the Holy Spirit. There is the work of Christ is within me. I'm the temple now. So we're actually a bunch of temples hanging out.
Right.
Right. It's just I'm not saying that what we do today is again. I'm not trying to be adversarial. I'm not trying to be nitpicky.
But I think we need to be challenged too.
Yeah, I do think we need to be challenged. Like, no, you see, what you're saying is he's already in me. I'm learning to connect to it. So it's about awareness. Okay, I want to connect to God who's already within me. I want to be aware of that. Learning about love is the best way, and practicing it. Because some people can kind of, I need to get away from relationships and just go get in God's love. And it's like, that can be more just avoiding people, because people are dangerous and toxic and all that kind of stuff,
True.
And we all have our fill. I'm over this person. I can't. Right. It's all. And you get with God, you recalibrate to get back in there. But yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? For someone too, a lot of us have come out of homes with complex trauma and all that, and we're used to drama. There's a part of even worship of getting hyped up and worked up and love me, that I feel like a lot of the times we're like, it's codependent in some ways.
We want to get this feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And
then we go, God showed up. God showed up. So we have a God show up. Okay, so he didn't show up here.
Right.
So that means he comes and goes. It's actually false doctrine. It's not true, but we live that way anyway. So I've had to have a lot of adjusting to that. Like, why do I keep doing this proximity thing? Like, he's here and not here.
And almost like a begging. God, give me something. And
then
he's like, I already did.
Then it goes into begging. Yeah. And what he's wanting us to do is to practice the confidence that he loves us and he is here.
Amen.
Right? Isn't that what we want with our kids?
Simple.
We want with our kids, like, go out there and just practice being loved. Yeah, but Dad, I'm nervous. Go practice.
Yeah.
Go practice, even though you're nervous and you're struggling. Because you'll find as you practice.
Yeah, I tell Abby, she's nervous. Walk with confidence. Walk with your shoulders up and walk with confidence.
Yep.
Act like you have it already.
Yes. So anyway.
Okay, so anyway, can I do a super chat?
You sure can.
Okay. Thank you, Sabrina, for your super chat. If I make accepting myself exactly as I am my only goal, I have peace and I actually learn and grow. But it feels wrong to not try super hard. Is it okay to let go of striving and just let myself be? Thank you. No, thank you, Sabrina.
I can tell a little bit of black and white thinking in the question, because it's like, if I make this my only goal, right? Kind of like puts it in there. Now, love is the main thing. It's the everything, right? I think that you're giving me two options: let myself just be, and or strive. Well, those are the two options. The let myself be, I guess you'd have to talk about it, because for some people, like, I just let myself be, and they're just very passive, and they need to take some steps, right? All of us have a tendency to go towards either striving or passivity, right? Striving or passivity. And you have to learn, like, which are you adjusting from? And some we can bounce back and forth.
Well, I love when you do the teaching about the yoke.
About rest?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the lane of rest is not striving and it's not passivity.
It's active.
It's active. It's awake. It's steps. It's slow. It's journey. It's walking. But it's not living as though the weight of everything's on your shoulders. But it's also not like just. The phrase, though, I'm not saying that the phrase "just be" is a passive phrase. It can. So we're learning, like, which is the one that gets us trapped the most. And I would say for me, it's been both. More the striving. I was a chronic striver in everything, and I had to learn to, like, lay that yoke down. To, yes, just be, but it's like a being and living in it. It's not like just, whatever, happens.
Yep.
So hope that helps.
I think it did.
If it doesn't, forgive me. All right, let me try to get a couple of these, few of these knocked out.
Go ahead.
I want to do one on ROCD especially because my book has been my latest project and investment. And as I said, in the fall, I plan on teaching on this in course material, which I think could be very, very valuable. But anyway, the question is an ROCD question. And hi, Mark, I want to say, first of all, your teaching and videos have been a blessing to my life. So thank you for that. I've been struggling with OCD for over 5 years now that I know of. And I have almost every OCD you can think of. You might be surprised that there's probably more you haven't thought of. Guilt confession, ROCD, cleaning OCD, and religious OCD. Me and my boyfriend have been going out for almost 3 years.
3 years? You need to wrap this up.
Yeah, put a ring on it. Let's do this.
And I've been struggling with so much in between time. This past year, God showed me how much I've been my entire identity around this one relationship, to the point where I think I've changed myself to a different person for him. I want to push back on this a little bit. My whole identity is wrapped around this relationship. Many obsessors can say that. I'm just so wrapped up in it. You have an obsession issue, and the very nature of obsession is it creates this disturbance that you're always on high alert about, and you're needing some help to work through that. So it's not necessarily where your identity's wrapped around. And the whole statement of I've changed myself to a different person for him. I think when you're in relationship and it gets closer and closer, there are adjustments that are made. I think there's lots of things, My wife could say I wouldn't have done or gone into or been interested in had it not been for her. And I could say there's many things in my life it wasn't for my wife that I wouldn't have done or wouldn't seen happen in my life. So I'm hesitant to just kind of throw that label on. It also just feeds the obsessive distortions anyways. So God really opened my eyes and showed me in some areas that I have, and I've realized I've become codependent and idolizing this relationship. Again, I want to push back on that too. Obsessors in relationship will misinterpret codependency and idolatry. They do it all the time. At the end of the 1 John Bible study, I want to do a little bit like longer take on the last verse where John says, stay away from idols. And I've mentioned this before. Christianity uses this word idolatry as an arbitrary thing. You can just apply to anything. Anything you like, it's an idol. And many OCDers mistake their spinning and their whatever they're struggling with codependency. So they write to me, Mark, I have this codependency issue I'm needing to fix. Now, it's really OCD. Yeah, codependency may be in there as well too, but the dominating force is your obsession. So you're confusing ROCD with codependency and idolatry. I know you said God really opened your eyes and showed me, but can I be a brother from another mother and go, let's not put the huge God label on it. You've been in a relationship for 3 years. It's time to make a decision. It's time to move forward in this. That's a big part. The relationship isn't taking steps forward. So 3 years is a long time, and relationships are meant to grow and move forward. So that's where I would encourage your focus to be in forward movement. I don't know who I to the point that I don't know who I am without it. I don't know what to do. He's a great guy, and he's never asked me to change or do anything for him. He's very accepting. Yeah. So this codependent idolatry thing, you have an OCD issue, and you even yourself said you have just about every OCD that there is. So that shows you have an obsessive compulsive lens about life, which will cause you to get on these tangents that are not going to be fruitful for you. And even the fruit, he's not doing these kind of things to pull on this, to pull on you idolizing or being codependent. It has helped me the best he can through all of my OCD struggles. Do I leave him? Do I take a break and find out who I am first? This is a classic distortion. Again, it's going back to I might be with the wrong person. I got to get out because I don't know who I am. And so we think I got to find who I am by myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna use the word worldly.
Oh, here he's gonna go. This is my kind of talk now.
I'm gonna use the word worldly. That is a worldly mindset. I got to find who I am by myself somewhere. You hear the world talking about this a lot. It's a way to just like get away from people. We learn who we are by practicing in relationship. You practice who you are. You read in the scriptures what God says about your identity, and you practice that in your life. And then you stumble, and then you get anxious, and you get insecure, and you fall apart, and you're goofy, and you have weakness, and you keep practicing your identity. So the issue that I would bring to your attention is you've been in this relationship long enough that it needs steps forward. It's creating a stagnancy, so you're overthinking a lot of things, and what it needs is now facing the fear that ROCD brings about. That's my feedback for that. A question came in on rehab centers. Hello, Mark. I want to start off my question to you by just saying how much I love you and your family and what you do. You've made such a big impact on me, leading me into being more grounded in love and grace. I appreciate you answering my question a couple months back in your Q&A about self-hatred. I actually just got out of the hospital after attempting suicide and went into 911 help, as you say. My OCD is latching onto every area of my life, and it's causing a lot of problems in my marriage and happiness. My therapist recommended a residential OCD rehab center that can really help me. Although I know you don't believe in quick fixes, neither do I would love to hear your thoughts on OCD rehab centers that you can go into for a couple of months to get 24/7 help. I'm starting to figure out that they are really expensive, and before making the investment, I really would value and appreciate your opinion. I also love your Bible studies that you've been doing and love the Healing and Freedom community. Thank you so much. Well, I'm glad of your kind words. I'm sorry to hear how you've had some really rough seasons in going through this. I think that when it comes to rehab centers, I've worked with some people that were in them, did some one-on-one work with people that were actually staying, and we were doing a Zoom call or a FaceTime Zoom call while the person was there. I've had people write to me about their treatment experience and how some of it's helped, and some of it. Many times people have expectations that this is a fix. I'm going to go to a rehab center, and that's going to fix everything. It's only going to be helpful to the amount of work you put into it. Now, I've had a great opportunity in my journey. I am not a licensed therapist. I've not gone through those pathways. I have college work I'm doing. I have a lot of training that I've developed over the years and so forth. I have a unique journey. It's not the typical journey. But I remember one time a rehab center was using my materials to encourage a particular situation. Mm-hmm. And this was their words that they said, just so you know, this guy's not licensed. He's not a licensed therapist, but he's right on in what he's talking about. And that was wonderful to hear. And that pretty much describes could describe my journey. There's a lot of great things in what I share and talk about, but it's come out of my own very, very difficult, challenging seasons. And when you're challenged and it's just you, God, and the devil, and you're trying to figure this out, it causes you to dig deep. And that's what my journey has brought about, and to find out what's really helpful. But many people look at rehab centers as like, I'm going to go to this, and this is going to be my rescue, and this is going to be my thing. In my opinion, it can be helpful as a reboot, right? But the greatest place of growth is in real life. So there have been times where I've even in my own work, have recommended somebody go away to just get into an immersion kind of experience. But I tell them, you're going to have to come back home, and you're going to have to live this out. You're going to have to live it out in real life. And with OCD, you need IRL. You need in real life application to it. So many do, like, what's it called? Impatient, or you go and you don't. Isn't that what it's called? Impatient? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go in the day and you live at home, but you go in. There's those kind of aspects too that can help. I think that OCD help, though, is very, very challenging if the person is still defending their distortions. If they're defending, so somebody, I've seen situations where, like in scrupulosity, I've committed the unpardonable sin. No, God isn't here. And they go into the treatment, they're still defending their obsession. So then it's like you're in an argument all the time, and you're debating back and forth. And that's where it becomes challenging. When somebody goes, okay, I've got these things yelling at me. They're not of God. They're not healthy. They're not good, but I struggle with them. But I'm trying to learn. That's going to make a more helpful setup for you. So I think there is a lot of understanding of people, how they see these centers and things. And some people even say, I need to be locked up, And many, and speaking of OCD, I've told people, I've had a lot of experience with 911s in my journey. And one situation where she was convinced she committed the unpardonable sin, and she's convinced that these demons, a whole list of these kind of things. And she was tempted to just go to the emergency room and go to the psych ward, right? And I said to her, when you go in there, if you do this, do not tell them the devil is telling me these things.
Right.
Because as soon as you do that, they're going to go, okay, so what else is that? Say that. Right. And then a bunch of mechanisms are going to kick into play, and sure enough, that's what happens. So if you have OCD issues, you need to direct it to people who understand OCD. That's important as well too. But I'm glad my Bible studies are helping. I'm glad the community, because I know this person's a part of the Healing and Freedom community. I'm glad that's been a help to you as well too. So hopefully that helps. There's another question about unfulfillment at a job and identity struggles. And this guy says, I'm 31. I was diagnosed with severe OCD when I was 23. So you probably had it most of your life. It just probably took a while to realize that's what it is. Ever since then, I've had an extraordinarily hard time picking a job that brings me happiness. I've gone from job to job each time with the feeling I am living the wrong life. So that sounds like it's one of your obsessions. You step into a job and this catastrophized feeling rises up, I'm in the wrong life. And so you probably compulsively quit your job. It's caused you to lose jobs. I'm still in this situation today. I've heard you talk about our deepest identity as being God's son. That's correct. While I'm trying to find myself, will it be enough to try to root myself in that identity? Can that sustain me while I feel so lost? I think what you need to realize is at your job, you practice your identity. So I think your bigger issue is you have an obsession about how you feel about the job that you're in. And I wouldn't let that be your driving force. I think many people go into a job and they spend too much time assessing, do I like the job? Am I fulfilled with this job? I don't feel happy. And they do too much assessing at first, especially. It's like, no, let yourself practice it. Let yourself work at it for a while before you start doing a lot of interrogation over your feelings on it. Because otherwise, we're constantly checking that symptom on the reader that says, I'm not fulfilled. I'm not fulfilled. The truth is many times people like that aren't fulfilled at any job, right? So I wouldn't make this a focus of like, I got to find myself and then I'm going to be happy at my work. Do the work. Don't chase your feelings all day at work because you clearly have severe OCD, you said, and you feel lost at your job. And just know for you, that's a disturbance. That's an area when you go to work, you're going to have this thought hits you. I don't feel fulfilled. I'm in the wrong place. And you're actually going to have to work through exposure. Staying at your job, stay at it for a while. Don't do any like quitting. I got to get out of here. Stick with it and practice each day, not feeding those obsessions. And your workplace is actually where you're going to learn more and more of how to battle through these things. I'm going to do one more, then we'll do a check on super chats or maybe take a break. This gentleman's OCD about his singing voice, and he actually stopped singing. Hey, Mark, I'll try to make this short, LOL. I have been listening to you for almost a year now and can't believe how much I've learned. I'm 60 years old. I knew nothing about complex trauma before watching and reading some of your resources. I used to perform music for a living, mostly secular stuff, although I've been a Christian since I was a teenager. Back in the 90s. Oh, I love the 90s.
We do.
Love the 90s, brother. We were meant to live for so much more. Sorry. I had to do a little switchfoot. We want more than this world's got to offer. Back in the 90s. Oh, we agreed, though, that the switchfoot's not 90s.
Correct. They're early 2000.
You're right. But I'm going to include them in it.
That's okay.
Where'd I go? Okay, back in the 90s, I won a CGMA award here in Canada. Congratulations. That's awesome. Very, very belated congratulations, but that's awesome. That award is in a box somewhere. All my life, my music was my identity. A vocal injury caused me to become OCD about my voice, and I didn't even know I was OCD about it. I've not been able to sing for over 20 years. When I try to sing, I just shut down and lock up. Lots of vocal training, but the problem is a mental block where I don't allow myself to sound bad or to be heard. Like many people with a perfectionist mindset, I cannot seem to find the fun or joy in singing anymore. And I have not for over 20 years. I do still play piano on a worship team here locally, but I feel incomplete. I'm not sure where to look to find areas that need healing. And yes, sometimes I feel guilty for preferring secular music over worship music. All right, we're gonna set that part aside right now because that's unnecessary, and I know it can be an easy spin out about that. But let's stay on your voice and your vocals. I actually enjoy growing emotionally and spiritually. I've been in and out of therapy for 30 years, but I feel like I have put so much weight on my ability to sing that it's counterproductive. I just can't let go of the emotion and allow my voice to work free. There's a there's a shred of this that I relate to. You're a professional award-winning singer, so I'm not going to try to put myself in. I understand. I do goofy sounds. I'm probably pitchy at times and stuff like that. But there's an understanding because in leading worship for so many years as I did, it got wearisome, very tiring. I lost my voice many times. I had lots of vocal trouble. I actually had to go to it was a department of ear, nose, and throat up in Connecticut, but some of the branch was connected to the one in Boston, and it was really funny because I went there to do therapy and to get my voice back, and I basically pushed it too hard. And the lady I worked with, she had worked up at the one in Boston, and she would tell me stories about Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. He enjoyed the therapy so much that he would just show up at their place and just do vocal stuff, and he allowed them to do this experiment where they put like a camera in his throat and to show his vocals what it looked like when he was singing. Wild. Like really, really wild. I think you can look it up if you look it up. Steven Tyler, Aerosmith, vocal camera in his throat or something like that. But anyway, during that time, I realized how much stress had taken over my physiology. And so when my vocal coach listened to my singing, I would bring her recordings. She's like, "You are just pushing so hard," which was indicative of how I was living in life. Mm. It wasn't just something that just one area. It's like how I was living my life. So she taught me more about relaxing, about the flow of letting, and we had to work at it. It was work because I had to get back to the fundamentals about singing and all of that. But I noticed a lot too that the joy of singing started to get lost. I no longer enjoyed it. And I remember when I left the church in East Hartford back in 2006, I really struggled. I didn't really want to sing anymore. And the joy of it was just not there. I was just burned out. And there was a journey, and I'm still on it, a journey of getting back to the enjoyment of music. And some of what I do here and just being fun and just laughing and stuff like that is actually helps my healing journey. So when you talk about your complex trauma and what you grew up with, there's probably an aspect where you were great at your singing, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. And singers have a lot of performance pressure because they got to be on point. They got to show up. It's not like you get up and go, "My voice isn't good today." And everyone goes, "That's okay. We still love you. We bought tickets and we don't care." It's a very kind of stressful dynamic. So on top of it, you also have severe brokenness. You're recognizing it and growing up, and you hit this wall. And I think that what this calls you back to is the simplicity of the joy of what you're good at. So this is the threshold you're going to have to get past, okay? This is the threshold you're going to have to cross. It's the threshold of letting yourself sing when you're in your house, in your home, and not fussing over the quality of it. And that's going to be a big challenge because you've spent your whole life making sure that pitch is just right. You actually need to practice singing and having moments where it's just not perfect. That's your exposure therapy. You, on a daily basis, you need to sing in the shower, sing into a mic, don't sing into a mic. Sing by yourself, and maybe sing with one other person there just for fun. Where the stakes are not high. You need to have avenues where there's not all these other distractions. You play on a worship team, I don't know that that's the place to start. Maybe start by yourself and just let yourself sing. Now, if your vocals are still injured, and maybe speaking of the 90s, what's his name? Brian from Backstreet?
Yep.
Luttrell? Mm-hmm. Is that his name?
Yes.
Look at that. I remembered a name. he this is a secular pop reference, but he sings with Backstreet, and he you see him, you can tell there's
struggling.
There's something off, and the band decided that they're going to work with him.
I know, I love it.
Now, that's a powerful picture of love. They decided not to get somebody else, because they could have easily gotten somebody else who could hit, pop those notes and hit them clearly. But they decided as a band, we're going to stick with each other. And so they work with him and support his vocals. And I think that's a powerful picture of what you need here, brother. Now, I know you're 60 years old. So you're not a child of the 90s. So sorry for the 90s reference. But
who doesn't love the 90s?
But you won an award in the 90s. So what's the sorry, I'm on a switch.
Who were the good worship bands in the 90s?
The worship band in the 90s 90s worship was a new phenomenon.
True statement.
So you had Michael W. Smith made a big shift, and he came out with a couple worship albums. Hillsong United, of course, Hillsong was out.
True.
Right? They came out with that song "Shout to the Lord" and all that, and then Hillsong United, which was like a youth movement. I
was obsessed with Stephen Curtis Chapman in the 90s.
That's good. That's good. And then there was a group called Sonic Flood. They were very, very popular, and all they put out was worship kind of stuff. So, but anyways, I had to switch for thought. This is the song for this brother. I can't play it, but it's the song "Dare You to Move."
Oh, so good.
Dare you to move. Dare you to get yourself off of the floor. Dare you to move.
So good.
Was it like Today Never Happened?
Yep.
Today never happened. That I feel like is such a good song for depression, people struggling with depression, people struggling with failure, people struggling with fear. Go listen to that song, Switchfoot, Dare You to Move. Go listen to it.
It's so good. That whole album is so good.
Yeah. Doggone it, YouTube. I would want to play it right now, and they would. I would get it.
Now it's going to be in everyone's head.
I would get an immediate notification. I played a few years ago. I did a music thing. I was talking about Christian contemporary music, and I played the Jesus Freak DC Talk intro. I want to say for like 3 seconds. It was just the dun 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 dun. That intro. And they hit me for a copyright. I'm like, come on.
I know. It's like, really?
Come on. I wanted to go.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
I'm like, I get you guys need your money and all that.
Oh, please. Right.
How much to pay? And they'd be like $20,000.
Right.
You would not believe what it costs to get permission of songs. These TV shows or movies that play a song, they have to pay big money just to. I get it. But anyway, I think that it has to get back to the joy factor of enjoyment. And you enjoy singing, but it's become a painful thing because the injury seems like it's traumatic too. You had a vocal injury, So the whole thing heightened your OCD about it. And so, for me, I had to learn to just enjoy music, not because I was preparing for a worship set. That took me years. Because that's all I did. I'd hear a good song and go, oh, this is a good one. It's a good one. Okay, I got to get a chord chart now. I got to get it. Okay, I got to get that was it was ingrained in me. And to just enjoy a song for what it is. And so for me, I actually shifted over to listening to soundtracks, movie soundtracks, which was very refreshing for me. And it still is to this day. I work with. I'll put a soundtrack in my ears and I'll write, and because lyrics can be distracting, but find a way to get back to the joy. But you have to let yourself experience the flawness of it, and don't feed it, don't fix it. Just face it each day and sing something you like. Could be a Christian lyric, non-Christian lyric. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is finding a delight in it, and you see the flaw and you don't do anything about it. You keep going. What do you got in the super chat land?
Nothing right now.
I see one. There one there about wives.
Yeah. If you want to answer it, you can.
Why? Hold on. Why doesn't the Old Testament say having multiple wives is sinful? It didn't. It's like when you look back and you go, how did Adam and Eve had kids? So how did replication happen? Mm-hmm. Well, there was some brother sister thing going on there. It wasn't until later that was said. Okay, that's wrong. So over time, it was established that what, get married to one person and make that covenant.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how they did that. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being one of multiple wives? That's exhausting.
No.
It's exhausting. Let's just the moral aspect of it aside for a second. That sounds exhausting.
Yes. No, thank you.
Let me do one more here. This is another biblical.
Oh my goodness, it's 5:00.
It is. It is, darling.
My goodness, time just flew.
It did. It did. This one's on Ananias and Sapphira. I'll answer this briefly. Hello, Mark. I was reading the New Testament again when I stumbled upon Acts 4 on the story of Ananias and Sapphira. I'm confused why they died and how I should navigate my discomfort and uncertainty with the lack of forgiveness, grace that the story seems to have. Thank you. There's a lot of speculation in this. There's some people that say that Ananias and Sapphira had a heart attack when it was revealed they're lying, that they just had a heart attack and both of them dropped dead. I don't know that I think that's what happened. The key was not just the lying. There's an aspect where Peter says, you're lying to the Holy Spirit. The key here is this was the start of the church. So a very radical step took place. And it's not necessarily a command, okay, that the church has to do this in every situation. But everyone just sold their stuff. And they're like, who's in need? The point is not the selling the stuff. The point was the radical, beautiful, I shouldn't even say radical, because I don't want to communicate extreme. It's love. It's the beauty of God's love and the people loving each other. And it's a picture of that. So the problem here is this is the start of the church. And Ananias and Sapphira come forward because people they sold a big piece of land, bring it forward, and Ananias and Sapphira jump in and they virtue signal. So the deeper problem in the lying is the self-righteous lying. And one of the things that Jesus and the Bible is very hostile towards is Pharisaicalism. As Jesus in his life was very, very intense about the Pharisees and the teachers of the law that were burdening people. And also a self-righteous lie that is portrayed. That's why I'm very big on, all of us, let's humble ourselves before we start yelling at people and judging them. And that's kind of part of the church lady too, is in a funny way to kind of show the extreme ditches that we can fall into. All right. It's this self-righteous lying portrayal. And so you'll see, obviously, this is not a continual pattern that God does all the time, because you have people lying like crazy all the time everywhere. But it was at the origin of the church that in this very, very special moment, nope, this foundation is not going to be built on that. And so there was an exposure to it. And it makes people freak out. And I celebrate the fact that there's mercy amongst us in all our goofiness and all our issues, that there is grace and mercy. But we do want to be sober about self-righteous portrayal of ourselves in a way that is lying. And that was a very heavy moment that they created. No one said, hey, come on up here. And they're like, oh my goodness, I don't know. What should we say? No, they brought them up and said, hey, this is what we did in this work of God's Holy Spirit exploding, the start of the early church. And God nipped that one at the bud as an example to us all. Now, if if lying requires that punishment, we would all be dead, wouldn't we? We would all be dead at some point. So, but you probably have a obsessive compulsive part to your journey. But you said there's a lack of forgiveness, grace in that story. Yeah, you can look at that at a number of stories where you see a intense moment. You know, Jesus made this statement about Jezebel. She was leading false prophets and also getting people to have sexual immorality with each other. And the Lord's like, I'm going to put her in a sickbed. And you go, oh, where's the grace and forgiveness there? You're talking about people that are at leadership levels portraying something that is not of God. And we see that here with Ananias and Sapphira, trying to portray something in a influential kind of way. You know, they had their Instagram live on and go, hey, everybody, look what we did. And Peter's like, liar. And I'm sorry I'm laughing, but, you know, it's just, it was a footprint that is a reminder of all of us. Be sober about our journey. Mm-hmm. Now, does me lying and God not striking me dead, does that make me go, oh, so it's okay to lie now? Well, some people might think that way. But if we're students of the word, we see those moments where God has a strong word, and we need to make room for that. Because I don't think that in this journey, God is love and all this, and we're going to turn that now into just this cushiony kind of thing, like just like any parent. And a parent has to have a firm word with their kids. And there is a sense of having respect and honor for the work of God. But many of us struggle with a fear of punishment, and so we don't know how to move left or right. In Acts 4, it said great fear came upon the congregation. That word is really pointing to awe. Our struggle with the Greek word phobos, which is with the Greek word that's used a lot of times to describe fear. The problem is that it speaks of raw awe and reverence, but it can also speak of a sense of, you know, fear, just of anxious fear, right? So when it's used, you need to use context. Unfortunately, there wasn't words separated out and used in that. And we fall into that same pattern today too with our words. When we say, I love the Lord, I love that pizza. Like, wait, those things are not equal. It's context, and context helps you to understand that. So you're saying there's a lack of forgiveness and grace. How do we know that? Don't insert an assumption that's not there. Don't insert an assumption that there wasn't teaching and conversation, and they're already having awareness of this. And like, hey, let's be honest about this. Don't insert something that's missing to fill in the gaps. I always have to be aware of that in Bible study. Is to like, there's a lot of passages where I go, oh, that's weird. I wish I had more information, but I don't have it. All I have is what's here. So I'm not going to speculate things that may just be my own thing in there. Do you have time for one more?
Sure. Can I just read a quick? It's not a question. Can I just read something quick?
Yeah.
This is from Casey. Casey, thank you for your super chat. Fellow OCDer here, and recently switched my meds to extended release and cut my dose in half. Have listened to your channel for a long time, and a heart. Well, we love you.
Right on. Mm-hmm. Casey.
Casey.
Oh, KC. I was thinking Casey. Like I'm Casey Kasem. I'm thinking of the 90s again. I'm in 90s mode. Remember Casey Kasem?
Yes. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Is that his real name?
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
Come on.
I think there's some weird thing too about him, like in the end of his life, his wife.
Like he had a weird death.
There was something where he was being kept from his kids, I think. Some weird stuff I think I read. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think that was him. Casey said, thanks. Purple heart again. Awesome. I had nasty side effects and high blood sugar, but doing better now.
Awesome.
We're grateful.
Grateful. Mm-hmm. Glad to hear. I'll address this one more before we go. It's concerning false preachers, false teachers.
Oh, go ahead. We may be here for a while.
Since I've experienced spiritual abuse and am healing, I've started going to church again, and found a pastor I like to watch as well. The journey, when you experience spiritual abuse, it does take time because when you experience that, trust gets hit, your sense of safety gets hit. So most people who've experienced it, they find it takes a while to get back into the game again, so to speak. You say you watch David Jeremiah often. For some reason on YouTube, there are so many videos calling so many pastors false. One said that he was. I was so disheartened because I really believe he preached sound doctrine. I'm pretty sure every pastor is wrong about something. That's kind of true. That's a helpful observation, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I don't believe we should be throwing the baby out with the wash. I got stuck on this sentence because I think it's a typo. But something about reading our Bibles and glean what is good. I think we can read our Bibles and glean what is good from different pastors. I think that's what we're saying.
Yes.
Is this even good, having a full-time ministry calling out false teachers? I don't think that's ideal. I don't think it's ideal to have somebody that's all they do, like they set up. I do find there is a lot of it, and sometimes it's rough. It's rough, and sometimes I get why they're here, because sometimes it takes a loud voice pushing through to like go, hey, there's some problematic things here, but I do have a concern about that being the full-time place. Now, here's what I observe. Some of these false teacher people will talk about people I've met and I know and I've been in their culture. Mm-hmm. And when they talk about it, I go, you can tell this person hasn't been in their meetings. They don't know what they're talking about as far as like how things go. Mm-hmm. It would help if the ones who are calling out have actually been in it or been a part of it and can speak from experience of understanding the culture, if that makes sense. Because like a non-charismatic will call out charismatic. And I'm like, no, that's actually not what he meant. I know what he meant. I was in that culture. Right. I saw that. I know what he meant. And that what the soundbite you're pulling out is out of context. It's not what he said. Right. So that gets frustrating. But then I feel like many teleteachers or televangelists and all that, they're not necessarily the best representatives of themselves either. They say outlandish stuff, or they say things that are braggadocious, or they make up stories.
A lot of stories.
I that's the part that gets me. I'm just tired of them making stuff up. The making up the miracles, the making up the healings, the making up prophecies, doubling down on it. That it's goofy, it's wrong, it's not good. Mm. But I feel what you're saying. I go back more to the spiritual abuse. Give yourself time. Give yourself time to find people that will exhort your heart in healing, exhort your heart in grace, rooted in truth that sets us free, and grounding your heart in love. I find that many of the good ones are not necessarily the famous ones. We often go to the big platforms, right? And often the big platforms have like a certain appeal, but it doesn't necessarily have depth. But if you take your time, teachers that are more solid, good, they're not flashy, they're just themselves, and they produce some great stuff. There's people that I listen to from time to time, and I mentioned one that I last week, and he's great, and he doesn't have a huge following, but there's rich insight, very helpful. It edifies my journey in going. I like teachers that make me go, oh, I didn't think of it that way, and then encourage me to go dig into it. That's what I appreciate the most. So
you know what? There's something that you have always said too over the years when we've seen some channels that are like, it's the spirit behind it too. They're very hateful. Mm. And there's something you've said too, like these people have never been on staff at a church. They don't have the experience, and they are just ripping apart what they think people should be preaching and teaching. And they've not done, they've never been employed by a ministry. They've just been unto themselves. Yeah. And that's a big deal too. You can kind of tell that. And then there are other people that have channels that are bringing out things that people need to understand and know. But you can tell the spirit behind it. It's like, no, there's certain things that they are like, we feel that we need to expose this, But there's other people that are just really hateful.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of know to stay away from the ones that are like that.
Yeah, because what happens is in I guess we'll call it discernment ministry kind of thing of calling out, they very quickly start to match the political discourse of our time, which political discourse is like, snarky comments, putting the person down, like shaming the person versus I just believe maintaining a heart of love and maintaining the fruit of the Spirit while talking. You can totally disagree. You can even go, I think this person's a false teacher, and I'm very, very concerned. I think this is an error, but you can maintain love and maintain fruit of the Spirit. But I think what happens is they get in that like nasty tone, and then it's like personal jabs, and it's like making fun.
And there's arrogance to it. And
And they're making fun of
and
them.
it's tough because right now there's a lot of things that need to be exposed.
Yes.
So there are people doing that work, but there are some really nasty channels too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
Yeah. This is good. This is great.
It is.
Honey, I love you.
Oh, wait. I can't see the poll results, so I just wanted to see what the poll results were in the end.
Oh, you're right. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to see it either.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Okay.
I think we got a lot of singles.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
But-
Single 56%.
But we got
married,
a lot of married people, and it's a tie between 0 to 15 years and 31 years and up.
Interesting.
Yep. And the 10% that was 16 to 30 years, that's interesting. It's like the lower end and the upper end were tied.
I know.
The 16 to 30 years, they're the smaller portion. So okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love polls. They're fun.
Yeah. It's very, very good. Any other things before we go?
Let me check. I did not. Let me just check. No.
We want more than this world's got to offer. The Kmart button has now turned into Switchfoot.
Oh goodness! Now we're gonna have to go play that. A lot of people were mentioning Rich Mullins too.
Yes, he was great. He was great. I saw him once or twice. He'd come out there barefoot with his jeans and play a hammered dulcimer.
Can I?
Do you know what a hammered dulcimer is?
I don't.
I'll play a song of his, and you'll hear it. Yeah, he was an interesting guy.
Okay. I just want to tell everybody, and I'm super excited about it, is that Third Day they're all coming back together.
Yes.
And we're going to go see them next year.
Yeah, they're doing a tour.
I'm so excited.
Mac Powell can sing the phone book.
Oh my gosh.
For sure.
His voice is just the best.
Yep. 90s are coming back, baby.
You know it.
Anyways, all right, y'all.
Love y'all.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. This is your brother from another mother.
And your sister from another mister.
Telling you we'll be back with more insights for your healing and freedom journey. But in the meantime,
we out.